Oh, man. Loading up. We're getting there. All right. Those stupid pre-ads are done. Hello, peoples. Whoever's here, hello. Going to be starting in just a moment. It will be time for justice in the courtrooms. All right. You just go ahead and poke around places real quick. All right. All right, all right, all right. It is time to start the game. Aw, yeah. Listen to that damn music. That is the music of justice. Bam, bam, bam. Bam, bam, bam. Oh. Oh. Oh, man. So I've never played Apollo Justice. Ooh, but the graphics look really good. Oh shit, a rocker? A magician? We've got, it looks like 4 episodes. Oh, wait. Oh, that's just the first game. Second game? Ooh, 5 episodes and then a special episode. Oh, this one's got anime scenes to it and everything. Oh, this one's Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Dual Destinies. Okay. What's this one? Another Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney one. Warning, this museum section contains spoilers. Oh, no. Don't do it. Alright, here we go. Apollo Justice Ace Attorney. So from my understanding, he's supposed to be like the apprentice of Phoenix Wright. Turnabout Trump, Episode 1. Okay, we got Picasso. Alright. Dark room. Playing cards. Bottle of liquor. It's very ominous. Showdown time. 3 kings. Oh, shit. 7s and aces.
By God Almighty, there will be an avalanche of justice.
You know it. Ugh, what happened? Oh, shit. Eek. Ugh. He dropped the dead man's hand. It's actually supposed to be aces and 8s, but I seem to be in a bit of trouble. Something like that. Dead. Someone hit him. Hard. Me? Please. The cops should be here any minute. I'm in your hands. Should it come to that. Uh-oh. April 20th, 9:37 a.m. District Court. Defendant lobby number 3. Panicked. Palms sweaty. Mom's spaghetti. I can admit it. I'm nervous. Ah, good morning. Oh, this guy. Wow, okay. Good morning, sir. Christoph. Okay. You look tense, Justice. Wound up tight? Wound up, sir? No. I'm loose. I'm fine. That screeching noise. Is that your voice? I suppose it's to be expected. Your first trial and it's a homicide. I guess justice doesn't start small, eh? I'm fine. I got up at 5 a.m. to do my Chords of Steel voice workout. I'm fine. Ah, that explains it. I did detect a certain rasping quality to your speech. I overdid it again. So is he also a singer? As you know, your client today is a good friend of mine. I wouldn't want to let him down, if you get my drift. Drift got him, sir. I'm all over that drift. As it happens, I dined with him the night of the murder. We can't let this case fall through. Yes, I'm fine, sir. One more thing. Don't say you're fine quite so much. People might take you the wrong way. Gulp. I'll be preparing our case. You might want to introduce yourself to the client. My name is Apollo Justice. If it isn't clear already, I'm a new attorney. And today is my first trial. Not that I'm worried or anything. The defendant has been accused of murder. My boss wants to help him out. Of course, and so do I. I mean, there's no way he did it. Not him. No way. Dot. Whoa! Good morning. Morning. It's all up to you today. First trial, nervous. Meeting him, cardiac arrest. I think I'm supposed to say something. Help? So you're... Fine, I'm fine. Ah, Mr. Fine, is it? I did remember you having an odd name. Well, we're off to a great start. Are you sure you're okay? I mean, with me? Mr. Gavin is a top-notch defense attorney, and he's your friend, so why? You'll see. Huh? You can do it. Be confident. I'm really sorry this happened to you. It's time, shall we? Yes, sir. Okay, I just need to focus. First trial. Here comes justice. April 20th, 10 a.m. District Court, courtroom number 2. Wow, it's the same judge. The court is now in session. It's Payne. Of course, Payne is our first opponent. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is, fine. Ready, Your Honor. Mind going blank. Don't panic. Too late. Your name was Mr. Justice, and this is your first trial? Yes, Your Honor. But I'm fine, really. Are you quite sure? Your voice sounds a bit strained. Mr. Gavin? Yes, Your Honor. I was under the impression that you would be heading up this case. That was my intention, yes. However, a defense attorney must always cede to his client's wishes. My client specifically requested Mr. Justice. Well, of course he wants justice. But to entrust his case to this greenhorn, why? I do not exaggerate when I say that you're the best defense attorney in town, Mr. Gavin. Wait, whoa. What about Mr. Phoenix Wright? Okay, so Gavin's got trial experience, fine. But does he have cords of steel? Why does he keep talking about cords of steel? And let's begin. The defendant may enter the courtroom. ... This is truly an unfortunate turn of events. I'm sorry we had to meet again under these circumstances. Long time no see, Mr. Wright. Wait, what? Oh, shit. Is this really Phoenix Wright? Let's put the past behind us, shall we? These days, I'm merely Phoenix Wright, piano player. Wait, really? Mr. Wright? How could this have happened? I won't speak of it further, then. If the prosecution would be so kind as to explain the charges, Mr. Payne. You think I sell you into this room a fresh attorney, and now I'll see you leave in chains. Ah, Winston Payne, subtle as ever, I see. Damn. The crime occurred at Borscht Bowl Club, a Russian restaurant. The defendant, Phoenix Wright, took the victim, a customer, and he hit him, wham, on the head, smack, killed him cold. A customer at the restaurant, you say? And the defendant? You say he was the pianist for the club, it seems. Phoenix Wright, a pianist. This is the weapon that took the victim's life. A bottle of grape juice. Grape juice? Really? Grape juice is apparently our defendant's drink of choice. The pianist. That's how you say it. Yes, the pianist. How you doing, dishes? Also, I forgot to say it earlier. How you doing, Mags? The court accepts the deadly bottle as evidence. Deadly bottle added to the court record. Something to note, Justice. All evidence is filed in the court record. Make a practice of checking it frequently. Okay, can I do it now? Yep. Alright, there's our badge. Smith's autopsy report. Time of death was around 2 a.m. April 17th. Death of cause was a single blow to the forehead. Okay. Cerebral hemorrhaging resulted from blunt trauma to the forehead. Okay. You uninstalled Monster Hunter World for good? Why is that? The bottle is completely empty. Grape juice. How long has it been since I drank grape juice? Apparently it's Mr. Wright's favorite drink. Wonder how well it goes with borscht. Yesterday night it started to say saving it failed to save game. So you uninstalled Steam and Monster Hunter, but that didn't work. So you said goodbye. Oh, okay. Okay. I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, well that one doesn't have a lid on it. The court record. Right. I've heard of that. They use the RB to look at the evidence so far. I'm confident in your ability to handle this. Right. Just use RB. Sounds like it's time for some hands-on action. So, the victim was a customer at this restaurant. But just who was this, Shady Smith fellow? We believe he was a traveler, Your Honor. A traveler? According to his passport, he had been out of the country for a number of years. He had only returned to this country recently, though his place of residence is unclear. And he had some sort of connection with the defendant? That, too, is unclear at the present, Your Honor. We believe they first met at the Borscht Bull Club on the night of the crime. If they had only just met, then why murder? Perhaps the victim slighted the defendant's piano playing? That doesn't appear to have been the case. No, the motive had nothing to do with the defendant's lack of playing skill. At least not piano playing. I'll let this photo explain what I mean. As we can see, a game of poker was in progress at the scene of the crime.
Objection!
Oh, no, we're not objecting yet. We're not there yet. Wait a second. Isn't poker gambling? That's a crime in and of itself. Indeed. It appears our defendant has fallen to become the basest of sort of criminal.
Objection!
It is true that the defendant was engaged in a game of poker with the victim. Yet it was only that, a game, in the purest sense. Competition, Your Honor. Always object? Competition? Yes, a test of wits, a silent clash of passions. Only the cards, their backs wreathed in blue flame, know its final outcome. Come again? The cards on the table had blue backs, Your Honor. I believe the defendant was waxing poetic in an attempt to mystify those present and impress women. That will be our first order of business here, then, to impress women. To find out more about this fatal game of cards. Oh, okay. Dude, Phoenix is so smug in this one. Very well, defendant. You will testify to the court about the poker competition held the night of the crime. My pleasure. This is it. My first trial. Here goes nothing. All right, testimony time. The competition. I'm a pianist by trade, yet I can hardly play at all. My real job is to take on interested customers over at the poker table. The room where we play and the competition in there are the club's main attractions. You played the first 2 cases this long ago, but you don't remember anything? Nice, nice. The rules are simple. We play a game of poker using 2 decks of cards. That's all it is. A game. And our customers are happy. A pianist who can't play piano. Better than a defense attorney who can't defend. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. Right, Your Honor. My first cross-examination. Don't blow it. Are you all right? You're sweating bullets.
No, we're not objecting yet.
Bullets? Where? It's a figure of speech, Justice. Your voice sounds strained and raspy, too. My brain feels strained and raspy, sir. You've watched me perform cross-examinations many a time. Though you've never done one yourself, have you? Care for a refresher? What to do? Should I ask Mr. Gavin for a refresher course in cross-examination? No thanks, we got this. No need for help here, sir. I think I got this one covered. I think I think you'd better do more than think. You know it, or you don't, or you do not. I'm fine. The cords of steel are ready for battle. My weapons, press and present, are present. Find any inconsistencies, any lies in the testimony, and reveal them to the courts. That is cross-examination. Learn it, know it, do it. Inconsistencies? Lies? Phoenix Wright? As if. Phoenix Wright would never lie. And it's up to me to prove it. The defense may begin the cross-examination. All right, here we go. Competition. I'm a pianist by trade, yet I can hardly play at all. Let's press that.
Hold it!
You can hardly play. No, I play sometimes when customers demand it. So I play them one song. That's usually all they want. Is that supposed to be a boast just now? The title of pianist is a mask, a respectable face I wear for the world at large. Why are you really at the Borscht Bowl Club? My real job is to take on interested customers over at the poker table. Okay. The room where we play and the competition in there are the club's main attractions. The rules are simple. We play a game of... Okay, no. We play a game of poker using 2 decks?
Hold it!
2 decks of cards. A simple measure to prevent cheating. If you alternate 2 decks, no one can slip in cards. There's something else I noticed. In addition to the cards on the table, there are some lying scattered on the floor. Precisely. The cards on the table, cards upon the floor. Each one forming a complete deck. A crime scene painted blue by a sad sweep of cards. It's poetic, really. Incidentally, we used 2 types of cards at the club. One deck of cards was red, the other blue. As I recall, in poker, you make 5-card hands. I can see how it would be easy to cheat. Yes, A game of hands. That's all it is, a game. And our customers are happy. Records. Can I not look at the... Oh, I probably have to do present.
Hold it!
So, you claim you weren't gambling? That's right. It was simply a game. You didn't bet any money, not even a little. The only thing at stake in our game was pride itself. Ho ho! Well put, Mr. Wright. I've got a mind to play a hand of poker myself. The stakes, your fate. Oh, can we get back to the trial now? Can't imagine Mr. Wright lying in a testimony. Isn't it a little early to be jumping to conclusions? This is your first cross-examination. Take it slow. If you need more information, don't forget to press. Right, I got it. Fine. Time to listen to that testimony again. The real job is to take interested customers over to the poker. Okay.
Hold it!
The room in the crime scene photo is an attraction. It has quite a history, actually. The Borscht Bull Club used to be a gathering spot for black market types back in the day. The black market? All in the past. Things like the black market are only on the silver screen nowadays. Suffice it to say that there were a lot of deals being made under the table. Right there in that room. Smoky room. Gambling hoods. You know, just looking at this picture makes me feel bad. The bosses gather around the table, cutting deals, safe from the eyes of the law. Meanwhile, Lagoon keeps watch through the small window. I can practically picture it now. That window does look like it would be good for keeping a lookout. Little else. The room had a few other tricks to it, though it was common knowledge to our regulars. At any rate, they come to play poker in a room steeped in history. Despite the dark past, it was all just good, clean fun. Okay. Okay, so we pressed on all this.
Hold it!
They pay you just to play poker. That would seem to be the case. I'm a professional, after all. Bah! Do I detect pride in that statement? It's just hard for an honest, hard-working member of society like me to imagine. Yes, your imagination was always a bit limited, Winston. Oh, what? I've played poker for 7 years in that little room. And I've never lost once. What? You see why the customers come now. Defeat the undefeated poker champion. It's quite a draw. That is, I'm quite a draw. Wait, you've never lost once? Not even one time? As I said, I'm a professional. He's played poker for 7 years and not lost once. Is that even possible? This competition you're talking about. I believe the court understands the nature of the game sufficiently. That's right. It was a simple game after all. Are you sure? Huh? People are not murdered over simple games, Mr. Justice. Defendant, you were in that room the very moment the crime occurred, yet you claim no connection to the crime. Now that's strange. What's strange? I was testifying about the competition that night. Asking me about the crime at this point is against the rules, Your Honor. Of course, I expected to hear a cry of objection from the defense. Ugh. Ugh, I completely let that one slip by.
Objection!
Don't despair yet, Justice. Sir? Right. There's something I'd like made clear. Namely, your connection to the case at hand. And I'd like to hear it from you. Sure, why not? You were late. Very well, the defendant will amend his testimony. Just one little press, and I've got myself a whole new testimony. I pledge silence regarding to the murder, but I will say I never touched the murder weapon. Wait.
Hold it!
Silence? The defendant has the right to refuse to testify. I haven't forgotten everything about the law. But why? That clearly puts you at a disadvantage. And it's your job to turn that around in our favor, yes? Great. Like I didn't have enough to do already. Justice, didn't you detect anything odd about that testimony? Huh? Wait, something he said did ring a little strangely. Just one thing. Now what was it? When you figure it out, I'd suggest presenting evidence. Evidence that contradicts the testimony. Contradiction in Mr. Wright's testimony? Why? Better check the court record. Okay. Oh, yeah, this has his prints on it. Unless this one wasn't the murder weapon. Can't imagine Mr. Wright lying in a testimony. Isn't it? Okay, yeah, okay, they're saying the same thing there. No, we just gotta go to the end. Present.
Objection!
You say you didn't touch the murder weapon. This grape juice bottle, right? So I said. Is something the matter, Mr. Justice? Too bad our new defense attorney never learned how to play dumb. What's this, Mr. Payne? I examined the bottle in question, you see, and it was covered with the defendant's fingerprints. Objection! No need to shout, Mr. Justice. I can hear you just fine. Excess yelling can damage the judge's ears and our case. But what about my cords of steel? Anyway, what's so strange about fingerprints on a bottle in a restaurant? Well, that's true. The prints alone don't... Uh-oh. Oh, they wouldn't prove a thing if they were normal fingerprints. Huh? But the fingerprints on the murder weapon were upside down. Upside down? What does that mean? It means he was holding the bottle inverted. And there can only be one reason for that. Yes. To brain someone with the bottle. Oh! Mr. Gavin, I think I just took a turn for the worst. Oh, I see no problem, Justice. Huh? The only thing that matters is the truth. There's a good reason for everything. You'll see. Defendant, can you explain your fingerprints on this bottle to the court? I stand by my plea of silence regarding the murder. For now. Not very cooperative, are you? This could hurt your case. I'm sure he's uncooperative because he's hiding something. There must be some reason.
Objection!
Your Honor, you seem to have forgotten something. And what might that be, Mr. Gavin? On the night of the crime, who was it who reported the murder to the police? Reported? Well, that was the defendant, Mr. Wright. But still, that... Really? Yes. Well, according to the case file, the murder was reported from near the scene by a call from the defendant's cell phone. Near the scene? Let's take a look at a diagram of the murder scene, shall we? The victim was murdered in a small room in a basement 2 floors down from the ground level. Of course, cell phones can't get reception so far down. The defendant used the stairs in this hallway to go above ground. The call came from the first floor of the restaurant. I see. And this is the phone that made the call. Okay. Wright's cell phone has been added to the court. The defendant could have just fled the scene of the crime if he so chose. Now, hold on. Wow, the battery's being held in with a piece of tape. You should just buy a new one. Maybe he can't afford it. Or he just doesn't care. He still has that old-ass phone? Hell yeah. Okay. No clues here. Okay, so that's all we know about is the battery. And it won't let me do anything with it. And yet he fulfilled his duty as a citizen and reported it to the authorities. And you claim he is being uncooperative? Nice save, Mr. Gavin. I better not waste this. I think the prosecution has toyed with our client enough for the time being. Toyed? I assure you, no one is more serious about... What was it you said? The defendant was in the room the very moment that the crime occurred? How can you possibly know this? That's a good question. How indeed? The answer is simple, Your Honor. The prosecution has a decisive witness. You're as good as they say you are. So someone else was in the room the night of the crime. That must mean they witnessed the crime. Well, they could have been outside because there's a tiny window. Everything up till now has been a warm-up, Justice. Are you ready? Very well. The prosecution may call its first witness to the stand. The witness will state her name and profession. Hold on just a moment. Where's the witness? I surmise that she's been frightened by the defense's demonic-looking horns. So I used a little hair gel. Relax, people. Have no fear. If any horns point in your direction, this court will cut them off. You are sure? I swear it on my gavel. Please, come out. Isn't violence against hair a... Wait. Isn't violence against hair a crime, Your Honor? Well, if you're sure, it's okay. Now, the prosecution... Whoa, wait a minute. Would the prosecution care to explain the witness's, paraphernalia? Yes. She's a professional, Your Honor. Those are merely the tools of her trade. And that would be... My name is Olga Orly. I'm employed as waitress in Borscht Bowl Club restaurant. Then why the camera? Of course, it is my pride to serve borscht that is naming restaurant. But I also perform, how is it said, other service? I take it one of these other services is taking the customer's pictures. Like for example, this one. Okay. They're talking in the room. There's a bunch of bottles of grape juice. That's the defendant? Indeed. On the night of the murder. Man in the white hat is one who has gone kaput. Indeed, that is the victim. Order, order! This is quite a piece of evidence you casually dropped into our laps. It is same way as I drop cold bowls of borscht on laps of customers. Casually. And the court will casually accept this evidence. Okay. Let's look this over. Now, witness, where were you at the time of the murder? Hold on. Okay, they're definitely... This is before they go to the other room, because there's a piano and all this other stuff. Why is there snow everywhere inside? That's weird. I was in the room. The hideout, we call it. Excuse me. The hideout. It is the room where a famous gangster bad guy was arrested. It is the room where murder took place. What? Your look of utter surprise. It is lovely. I will post by courtroom door later for you. Photos will be numbered. And you will write which ones you want copy of. So there were 3 people in the room at the time of the crime. The victim, Shady Smith, Mr. Wright, and Olga Orly, a witness. And if Mr. Wright isn't the killer, that means... Very well, witness. You will testify to the court about that night's events. Witness testimony. That fateful night. That night, customer asked me to deal cards for game. It was cold. Both players played with hats on. The victim, he plays whole time with his hands on locket at his neck. They still had his hat, but there's no locket on his neck. There's a locket here, but there's no locket here. Unless it is there and we just can't see it. Then last hand is done, but something terrible has happened. That man flew at victim and is strangling him to death. Uh-oh. Incidentally, who won the game? Isn't it obvious? The winner was the victim, Mr. Smith.
Objection!
That's ridiculous. Because Mr. Wright can't lose. Justice. Maybe you can come up with a more legitimate objection. But he hadn't lost in 7 years. Take it from me, kid. It happens. I didn't lose a case my first 7 years as a prosecutor either. Incidentally, I have some evidence here. Dude, why are you just busting out all this? You're supposed to give this to me before. These are the poker chips as they lay the very moment of the crime. Okay. Two aces, 3 sevens. 3 kings, 2 aces. A blue deck. The hand and chips on this side belong to the defendant, Mr. Wright. Those on the far side belong to the victim, Mr. Smith. Chips, you say? I mean, yes. Imagine that poker is war. Your hand is your army, and the chips are the spoils. You are doing a terrible way of explaining this. I know that. After all, in my youth, I was known as the poker head of courtroom number 3. I think he means the poker face. Looking at this picture, it does seem that most of the chips are on the victim's side of the table. Okay, that adds up. Very well, the defense may cross-examine the witness. That night, a customer asked me to deal cards for the game. It was cold, both players played with hats on. Now, the victim, he plays whole time with hands on locket at his neck.
Hold it!
His locket? I believe it was good luck, Chanda. He gripped it many times as he played that night. Whoa, hold up. Wait a sec. The locket that he's wearing, Phoenix Wright was wearing when he was on the stand. So he doesn't have it here. Yes, he must have felt as though it might carry him to the moon and the stars. Though if it were small enough to fit around his neck, it wouldn't have much lift. The defense would like a clarification. This is a locket we're talking about? I mean, a pendant with a picture in it, right? Not a rocket? Of course, I knew that. It was probably a pendant shaped like a rocket. That's why she called it that. No, a locket's a locket. It's considered bad form to poke fun at the hard of hearing in our society. Hard of hearing, or hard of understanding. So, what happened next? Then last hand is done, but something terrible has happened, huh? That man flew at victim and is strangling him to death. Okay. Like, I don't see the locket on his neck, but I'm going to assume that it's there? Like, I know which one we need to present. We need to present this one on the end one. But if I present this, will we get more information? Probably not. Objection! Oh, really? Strangled, you say? Well, that's odd. Normal customers only choke on borscht. No, I mean, this report shows that the victim died of a blow to the head. Ack! Miss Horley, really now, did you witness the crime? Eek! Looking at the picture, it doesn't seem like he was hit. He's still wearing his hat and everything. Yet it is a fact that he was hit, Your Honor. Here's a photo we took of the victim with his hat off during our investigation. Oh, that's quite shocking, isn't it? His head certainly was hit. Photo of forehead, hat removed during investigation. But I have seen it happen. The defendant, he lunged at victim. His neck. Yeah, so he took the necklace off of him. Because it's not there, see? Oh, really, Miss Orley? I think I've caught you in your own lie this time. Justice, I admire your enthusiasm, but perhaps you should think this through once more. What do you mean? Found a contradiction. There's one thing in her testimony that troubles me. Very well. It seems we should continue the cross-examination. There's such a thing as thinking too much. This horse is dead. Let's stop beating it. There's such a thing as thinking aloud too much, too. The victim, he plays whole time with hand on locket.
Objection!
Okay, I needed this photo for it. You know, there was one curious part in her testimony, just like Mr. Gavin said. But what does it mean? Mr. Justice?
Objection!
Would you care to explain what it is you're thinking so intensely about? Recall the testimony, Your Honor. The victim played with his hand on locket at his neck. I believe she said. I hope you're not about to raise an objection to the witness's grammar. No, but look at this photograph. Do you see a locket on the victim's neck? Well done, Justice. I am impressed. I knew you'd be able to handle this. What does it mean? If we are to believe this witness's testimony as it is, then the locket disappeared following the victim's death. Lockets don't just disappear, Your Honor. It's quite simple when you think about it. If the locket is gone, someone must have taken it off, no? Taken it off. Wait, you don't mean... The defendant wasn't strangling the victim at all. He was taking off his locket. Wouldn't that explain it? Ah! Defendant! What do you have to say to this? See, there it is. The damn butt plug frickin' necklace. Say. Yes? I just noticed this, but... You have something hanging around your neck, don't you? Oh. You mean this? Yes. It's a locket. With a photograph inside. A photo of my daughter. Wait, what? Hold the phone. Excuse you? You have a daughter? Who's the mother? Come again? Mr. Wright, you have a daughter? We confirmed it at the time of the arrest. The picture in the locket is indeed Mr. Wright's daughter. So Mr. Wright has a locket, too? Why don't I buy that this is just a coincidence? Well now, if the results of this poker game led to the murder, perhaps we should hear a bit more about the outcome of the game? Further testimony won't really be necessary. It's clear the defendant lost badly. Is it, though? 3 sevens, 3 kings, 2 aces, 2 aces. Okay, but no, it doesn't. It depends on what the value of the chips are. If those small red chips are 100 and the large ones are only 5, then Phoenix was winning quite drastically. Uh-oh. Miss Orley, you will testify to the court about the game played between the victim and defendant. Duh. Serious competition. The game began with 3,500 points in chip for each man. House chip come in 2 sizes, small and large. The one who was winning, it was victim. For last hand, defendant play with all chips on table and lose. The moment loss was decided, defendant grabbed bottle from table and... Indeed, looking at this picture, it does seem to be a one-sided game. No, it doesn't. As the court knows, poker was the defendant's life. Failure must have been a bitter pill to swallow. Ah, how many times have I heard these words? I done it in a fit of anger, Your Honor. Rather a common tale, but true. He thinks the judge watches too many old court movies. Mr. Wright said he hasn't lost in 7 years. This testimony must be wrong. Okay, we need to get the actual value of each chip. Okay. Are the chips in this photo all the chips that were used? Of course. Something's fishy with these chips. Should I press harder? Yes. Maybe you could explain a bit more about these chips? Explain? What is there to be explained? Poker chips are poker chips. They're not fishing chips. Not a chip off the old block. And thanks. Now that I pressed her, I'd better ask something. What are these chips worth? Are they in dollars or rubles, even? Yeah. As I have been saying before, it was a game, not gambling. Hard perhaps for capitalists to understand. 2 types of chip, 100-point chip and 1,000-point chip. It is not money, though. Justice. Sir, don't you find her comment interesting? In more ways than one, sir. It'd have to be added to her testimony. I'd have it added to her testimony myself. Well, does the defendant want the witness to add to her testimony? Yes. Yes. I do think this deserves further scrutiny. Add it to the testimony. Wish I knew where this was going with this. You know exactly where you're going. We need to establish that the small chips are worth 1,000. Very well. Witness, if you would be so kind. Your Honor. One kind of chip is worth 100 points, and other kind of chip worth 1,000. 2 kinds and all.
Hold it!
Mr. Gavin said this testimony is important. To be honest, I have no idea why. Mr. Justice, do the court a favor and think of what you want to say before raising your hand. You're not in kindergarten. Sorry, I'm fine. Better think of something to ask and quick. 2 types of chips. The small ones are 100 and the big ones are 1,000, right? Ha! Don't waste our time. Is that all? Yeah. Great. Mr. Mr. Gavin made me stop her, and now I'm the one who looks dumb. Oh, Justice. Please not try to embarrass me like that. Huh? Who, me? There's a clear contradiction in the information you have in your hands. What? A simple matter of calculation. Go on, try it. We're not in kindergarten after all. Calculation? So if the large chips are 1,000, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that's way more than was given. If each player started with 3,500.
Objection!
There we go. You're sure it was the victim who won? Absolutely sure. It seems our new attorney is a bit confused. A glance at the picture is enough to tell you who won if you're not in kindergarten. Why do they keep wanting to bring up kindergarten? Just for safety's sakes, could you explain the problem to the court? Of course, Your Honor. In this photo, I see small chips and I see large chips. Tell me, which were worth 1,000 points? Why, the big ones, of course. Duh. Oh, I thought so too. But then the totals don't add up. The totals? Let's review what the witness told us. Each man started with 3,500 points in chips. And the combined total value of the chips was 7,000 points. Well, yes, if my calculations are correct. Let's see. 3 plus 1, carry the 5. They are, Your Honor. Now, look at this photo that allegedly shows all the chips. If the big chips are worth 1,000 and the small chips are worth 100, and you add them up, how much is it? Do it yourself. You aren't in kindergarten, are you? Stop bringing up kindergarten. 10,600 points. The chips don't add up. It clearly contradicts the witness's testimony. But why? How could this be? Exactly, Justice. Now that you know the what, you must determine the why. Right. There's only one possible way to explain this contradiction. Three, 6. Both were right. But there was a third player. Each man began the game with 3,500 points. If all the chips are indeed shown in this photograph, then there can only be one answer. Well, what is it? The value of the chips was the other way around. What? Want to know what I think? The small chips are worth 1,000 points, not the big ones. Madness! Utter madness! Show me that photograph of the chips again. There are 6 small chips, 10 large chips. Why, that does make 7,000 points when you add them up. Excellent work, Justice. It's almost as though you figured it out all by yourself. Well, I'm just glad that I was the one who said it. But wait! The value of the chips may be different, but that changes nothing. Indeed, the victim did have the larger number of chips still. Oh! Exactly. If the small chips are worth 1,000 points and the large chips are 100, let's do a little math. Add up the points for each side of the table. The victim, Mr. Smith, had 2,900 points. 4,100 points! I don't know why it's skipping automatically like that. That's annoying. Well now, they're all in kindergarten, apparently. It seems that Mr. Right was winning that night after all.
Objection!
That's impossible. My client had even less reason to kill the victim. After all, he was winning. Yeah. Now, Miss Orley, you must have known the true value of the chips, since you were there at the scene of the crime, weren't you? Eek! Order! Order! It appears our defendant has lost his
Why you
motive.
bullying me?
And Mr. Wright's supposed defeat never happened. We must now ask ourselves whether... Uh-oh. Hold it! Excuse me. What is it, Miss Orley? I did not want to be saying this, but... Actually, you see, See what, Miss Orley? What do we see? In the last hand, there was cheat. A cheat? You don't mean a trick? Wait, or do you mean a scam? They're all the same thing. Yeah, there was cheat in last hand. That is why game ends with chips as they are. Great, just great. First we have lying, now cheating. Well, this case certainly has taken a turn. For the interesting. Witness, you will please testify to the court. Tell us about this cheating in the final hand. Oh my god. The last hand, both men had full house, yep. There is 4 of each card in deck from ace to king. If you look at both men's hands, cheat is more obvious. What? No. They have 4 aces, none of the same suit. He has 3 kings, and we have 3 sevens, none of them are the same suit. How is this more obvious of a cheat? The next moment, game becomes argument, and defendant's trick was exposed. You can't see cheat, exactly. He took bottle in his hand, poor Mr. Smith. Miss Orley, why did you not tell the court about this from the very beginning? I thought I smelled a cover-up here. Well, folks, it's time to throw back the covers. Full house is a very high-scoring hand. Not really. Not easy to make, in my experience. Not really. It's actually pretty easy to make. That alone is enough to suspect less than scrupulous tactics. Wait, hold on. That's a 5. That's a 4. There's another ace on the floor. Okay. Mr. Gavin? Hold on. Okay. What's a full house? Oh my god, Apollo. Lawyers these days. You don't know your poker. I can't say this bodes well for your career. Your case. Or career. What is this? Some kind of secret court poker ring? Justice. You know the terms 1 pair, 2 pair, and 3 of a kind, yes? Yeah, no problem. 2 cards with the same number makes a pair, and 3 makes a 3 of a kind. Good. Now picture a hand with 1 pair and 1 3 of a kind. That's a full house. Doesn't sound very easy to make, does it? Yes, it does. You can see each player's hand in this photo. Wow, they both have full houses. We forget, there's an easy way to make a full house and go undefeated for 7 years. You cheat. The defense may cross-examine the witness. He did cheat in the last hand. That leaves one important question. Mr. Wright lost that hand. Who's ever heard of a professional con man losing when they cheat? The last hand, both men had full house, yep. There is 4 of each card in deck, from ace to king. If you look at both men's hands, cheat is more obvious. The next moment, game becomes argument. Da, and defendant's trick was exposed.
Hold it!
How was it clear? Da, well, the defendant, he played a 5th ace. Excuse you? A 5th ace? I still remember both hands very well. Mr. Smith's hand had 3 aces. Oh, well, you're lying. And Mr. Wright's too. Obviously, cheating was afoot, or perhaps I should say, a hand. Your Honor, perhaps this can be added to the testimony, without Mr. Payne's joke. Very well. The witness will add this detail to her testimony, please. No. Screw you.
Objection!
It appears the witness is mistaken. Mistaken? But my name. Look.
I see you liking.
Hey, Jay. Thanks for the lurk. Look, this piece of evidence clearly contradicts what you said in your testimony. That's the photo of the chips, is it not? Justice. Perhaps you ought to explain your point in a way that the judge can comprehend. In other words, use your finger to point out your point. Yes. Please point to the contradiction in this photo. What particular point contradicts the witness's testimony?
Take that!
Miss Orley, in your testimony you made the following claim. Mr. Smith's hand has 3 aces. But as you can clearly see, the victim had only held 2 aces.
Emotional damage!
Eek! Well, maybe the witness was simply confused. Perhaps it was the defendant's hand that held the 3rd ace in question?
Objection!
Take another look at that evidence. As you can see, the defendant also had 2 aces in his hand. Where's this 5th ace? I see cheating all right, and it's going on right here in this courtroom. Two aces in each player's hand does make 4 aces total. Hardly proof of cheating. Wait, please. It is true, I've seen it, the 5th ace. There was cheating, I swear to you. That's odd. She must be lying, yet she's the most sincere I've seen her all day. You're right to trust your instincts. Mr. Gavin knows what lies in store for us in the trial ahead. Your Honor, if I may, I have a suggestion. What might that be, Mr. Gavin? If you don't mind, perhaps we might examine the actual cards. The cards? Mr. Payne. Yes? The players' hands that night were set aside as evidence, were they not? The defense would like to request that the cards be shown to the court. Very well. The prosecution will submit this evidence. Which will you examine? The victim's cards or the defendant's cards? These cards don't prove cheating was going on. Nothing will. Now, which of these hands is more suspicious? I mean, the victim's hands, technically. It was the victim's hand that changed over the course of the witness's testimony. The defense requests time to examine Mr. Smith's cards. Very well. Mr. Payne, if you would. Very well. Why can't you give me both hands? Well, time's wasting. Get to it, Justice. Yeah, I'm working on it. Aha! Only one of the cards has a blue back. I'm much more of a red guy myself. Blue is so not red, you know? Yeah, but that's all I needed to know. Yes, sir. No, I already... The game's forcing me to do it again. Yeah. No, we just did all this, Kristoff. Go away. Oh my god, I hate you. I just did this. What? Your Honor, look at this. One of the victim's cards. The back is a different color. But that's impossible. But I put that card in the right hand. Ack! What was that, Miss Orley? No, I merely said, I have ich. Your Honor. Mr. Gavin, yes? Tell me, what is the easiest way to cheat at poker? To cheat? I'll tell you. Yeah, he had dialogue for examining it early, right? One merely needs a friend, a comrade, shall we say? The dealer. Wait, so you mean this witness, Miss Orley? She's the cheater. A professional, I'd wager. Order! Focus, Justice. Time to take advantage of her, of her mistake. Your Honor, please recall the testimony we just heard. That's impossible. But I put that card in right hand. Ergo, Miss Olga Orley conspired to cheat, not with my client, but with the victim, Mr. Shady Smith. Ooh! Not only did she cheat, she cheated poorly. Therefore, it's not hard to imagine an altercation between her and the victim. What? Wait, you don't mean... The defense isn't accusing the witness, Miss Olga Orley, are you? Time for justice. There were 3 people in the room at the time of the incident. And if Mr. Wright isn't guilty, that means I am. The defense accuses the witness, Miss Olga Orley, of murder. Oh my god, I need some water. Hold on. She got knocked out. Oh, at least the Borscht landed fine. Mr. Payne, where is your witness, Miss Olga Orley? It appears she has lost, consciousness, Your Honor. Mr. Justice? Your Honor. It seems you've presented a new possibility to the court. One suggesting a connection between the witness and the victim, Mr. Smith. That means this court cannot pronounce a verdict for the defendant at this time. Yeah. What? I did it. I held out. I see no point in prolonging the trial this day. The prosecution will need to make further inquiry.
Objection!
Uh-oh. Oh, shit. Mr. Wright? You can't end the trial here, Your Honor. Not yet. What nonsense is the defendant spewing now? Think. One of the cards had a different colored back. Yeah, but he said that he played with the blue cards at the end of it. Don't you wonder what it means? Oh, what are you doing, Mr. Wright? Raising objections right when you're about to get off the hook? Ridiculous. Mr. Payne, you of all people should know, Mr. Wright has a talent for the ridiculous. Perhaps you should get to the bottom of things. Let's clear up the facts about the game that fateful night. As was said before, we alternated between 2 decks of cards that night. That was said before. The 2 decks at the club have different colored backs, blue and red. 1 color per deck. Why use different colored backs? If we use the same color, the 2 decks might get mixed. You used different colors and they still got mixed up. We used the red deck for the last game. I see. But that's odd. For some reason, I have this impression that you were using the blue cards. That's because that's what he said. Yeah, me too. I'm sure someone said something about blue cards. Whatever. In the end, 1 card of the wrong color got mixed into the mix, which means there was cheating. Yes, the card slipped into the deck. It would seem to indicate cheating. Yet, this card raises 2 serious questions. Apollo? Yes? Let's consider the first question, shall we? Think. In the last game, when was the card swapped? When? There are 3 broad possibilities here. It could have been swapped before the murder, during the murder, or after the murder. Well, yeah, thanks for the news bulletin, Mr. Wright. Of course, it was swapped. Oh? It might be as simple as you think, Mr. Payne. Or it might not be. Yeah. I'd like to hear what Apollo thinks first. When do you think the cards were swapped? When was the card swapped into the deck? Well, if she said that she put it in his hand, it would have to be after the murder. Perhaps it happened after the murder? What's that? Ridiculous. What's the point of cheating after the hand's been shown? That's silly.
Objection!
Yes, but tell me, how do you swap cards during the game? I'll take silly over impossible. Oh my god. Take it from me, son. There's a lot of silly in this world, but very little impossible. Oh, even when the backs of the cards are a different color? If you pulled that during the game, you'd be caught in no time.
Objection!
Ah, quite true. That would mean that the blue card in question was swapped after the hands were shown. After the murder. Okay, this is going past silly and straight onto crazy. I ask again, what's the point of cheating after the game's over? Who would do that? Who indeed? That's one of the mysteries before us. There's another? Yes, a simple yet decisive question that must be asked. Who swapped the red card for a blue card? Who? The game and murder is done. The victim is dead. Only 2 remain in the room, alive, that is. The defendant, Phoenix Wright, and our witness, Olga Orley. Okay, so who was it that swapped the red card for a blue? A red card for a blue. Someone else? The one who swapped the cards wasn't Mr. Wright, of course. And, well, doesn't seem like it could have been Olga Orly either. What are you suggesting? That's hardly a logical conclusion, I'll admit. As the defense, I think it only makes sense for you to name Miss Orly at this point. Yes, I know. But she was the one who dealt the cards, right? I just can't believe she would make the mistake of swapping the wrong colored card. And if the card was swapped during the game, it'd be obvious. Something you'd like to share with the court, Mr. Wright? Oh, my apologies, Your Honor. I'm just thinking how much fun all this is. Fun? How about confusing? I have no idea what the defense is claiming, Your Honor. If the one who swapped the card isn't the defendant, and it wasn't Miss Orly, then who was it? Oh, yeah, well, that is the question, isn't it? Precisely. Huh? I believe we're about to see this case take a new direction. A new direction? We'll find that, indeed, after the murder, someone swapped one of the cards in the victim's hand. And that someone made two critical mistakes. I'm sure you're going to tell us what that first was, swapping the wrong colored card. Because the one who did the swap didn't know two colors of cards were being used. So it was the victim. The other mistake was the number on the card. Okay, so wait. So if Olga gave the card to Phoenix, as she said, and they left for some reason, and then he swapped the card afterwards? Right. Person replaced the fifth ace with a king. I'm sure whoever swapped it wasn't expecting there to be a fifth ace after all. All they knew was that the game had been won with a full house. So they picked up a king from the table and swapped it in. But there's one problem. According to our case record, this person doesn't exist. True, not until now. But you have to admit the possibility of a fourth person. Why can't it just be the victim? Though it's more than a possibility. There was someone else there that night at the scene of the crime. What? I believe the judge spoke truthfully earlier. You do make trials ridiculous, Mr. Wright. This trial has proceeded on one central assumption. Namely, that at the time of the incident, there were only 3 people in that room. I believe this new evidence, shall we say, overturns that assumption. The problem is that you chose to conceal this information from the court. I suppose that is a problem, yes. Court is adjourned for a brief recess. Mr. Gavin, I'll see you in my chambers during this recess. Certainly, Your Honor. Very well. The trial will resume in 20 minutes. Holy shit. April 20th, 11:52. Damn, that was only almost 2 hours in there. That was quite unexpected, Mr. Wright. You suddenly claimed there was another person at the scene of the crime like that. I must ask, is it the truth? Well, now, I think you would know the answer to that. Ah, being mysterious, are we? Sadly, I have no time for mysteries. I'd only ask that you leave the defending to your defense in the future. Otherwise, I cannot guarantee the outcome. I see you haven't mellowed out one bit, Christoph. Justice. Yes, sir. The judge has summoned me to his chambers, so carry on without me. You did well, Apollo. Can I ask you something? Sure. That locket you wear, is that really yours, Mr. Wright? Oh, you're wondering about the victim's disappearing locket? Here, you can take a look at it. It's a picture of my daughter in there. Holy shit, your daughter's a magician. She's got style, though. She's wearing a top hat. I'm just surprised to hear you had a daughter. Most people are. Perhaps you'll meet her one of these days. One more question. The one who cheated that night, was it you? What do you think? Huh? You know what happened 7 years ago. What I did. It's not unreasonable for you to think I might cheat. I never. Honest. What did he do 7 years ago? That must have been in the series, but I don't remember it. But it is odd that he managed to go undefeated for 7 whole years. Want to know something? There's only one game where you can be dealt bad cards all night and still win. Poker. Eh? You see, poker's all about reading your opponent. In that way, it's a lot like a court case. Poker is like a trial law? Figure out what your opponent is thinking and you win. Oh, yeah, well, that's harder than it sounds. I think not. Try as they might to conceal it, everyone reveals their true thoughts in the end. The body language can become a valuable source of information. You're kidding. That witness, for instance, Miss Orley. She would touch the back of her neck during certain parts of her testimony. Did you notice? No. Come on, who'd notice that? I did. Words, habits, twitches. It's all information for the reading. That's the secret to winning, Apollo. Someone taught me, and now I pass the secret on to you. But I'm not worthy. I mean, there's no way I'll pick up on these signals. No, you can do it. Huh? You just don't know it yet. What's he talking about? But you will, soon. Is Phoenix Wright secretly Apollo Justice's father as well? Ah, almost forgot. One more thing about this case. You should know, I haven't told the truth to anyone yet. What? I knew it. I have my reasons, of course. All shall be revealed. And Apollo, I need you to be there, defending me. I need your power. My power? I had no idea my cords of steel were that special. Apollo? For reals, bro? It's time. The real trial begins now. Do your best. Oh shit. To be continued. Hell yeah, we're gonna save our progress. Holy hell. We gotta finish the first trial at least, right? Continue on to the next chapter. $12:14. I didn't think that the frickin' first court case would go on to 2 chapters. Court will now reconvene. Has our witness, Miss Olga Orley, recovered? Yes, Your Honor. Well, she's regained consciousness. Perhaps we can hear her version of the events again? That's the thing. You see, she's quite fatigued. You're looking a bit fatigued yourself, Mr. Payne. Yeah, it's usually a short tutorial, right? Sadly, fatigue is insufficient grounds for refusing to testify or prosecute. Alright, hold on. I gotta go grab another bottle of water. Ugh. water is in our possession. The defense would like to request that Miss Orley take the stand. Lots of reading, right? Very well. The witness will take the stand. There she is again. Perhaps you could repeat your name and profession? Or perhaps you'd rather admit that you're a poor liar and a poorer loser. Nay. Not. Oh shit. Name's Olga Orley. That's the truth. I'm a pro dealer. People call me Olga Quickfingers Orley. That's a terrible name to have. And why do you have a dice headband? Oh. Oh, really? Want to know something else? I'm not really Russian, and my last name sounds like, oh, really? There, that's the truth. Hope you're satisfied. Witness, you will tell the court what you were really up to that night. Fine, I'll talk. We had a plan, see? Let me remind you that you are currently under oath. Any further fabrications will have serious consequences. Fine. Like I said, you know what? I gotta say right now, when Phoenix Wright first came out, it really made me want to be a lawyer. To the point that I actually went and checked out a real court case. And boy, was I disappointed when I saw that it wasn't like this. Oh my God. If court cases were like this, where witnesses just come up and they're like, aha, I fooled you, and they rip off their damn outfit and they have a whole nother outfit under them, I'd be a lawyer instantaneously. Are you joking? That would be the greatest job ever. Like I said, I'm a pro. That guy Smith hired me to do what I do best. I was planted at the Borscht Bowl Club several days prior to the night of the game. You were in college to be a lawyer? Hell yeah. As a waitress. So you were in cahoots with the victim. Not that he needed my help. Smith is a well-known poker player in some circles. But winning wasn't the main purpose of this game. It was about destroying a legend, the unbeatable Phoenix Wright. The plan was simple. Elegant, really. You see, we set up a trap of sorts. It was to plant a card into Wright's pocket beforehand. Then deal 5 aces during one of their games. When their hands were revealed, Smith would call him out and search Wright. So did Phoenix swap it when he reached for the necklace? He would then pull out the planted card and the trap would snap shut. You swapped the cards. Exposed as a cheater and losing on top of it. It would have made a great double play. Just like that, the legend would be dashed to pieces. Indeed. Getting caught red-handed at cheating would cast doubt on all of his prior wins. A 7-year legend destroyed by one little card. That was the plan. Oh, really, Orley? Oh, really, Orley? Damn it, how droll. But it appears you made quite the mistake. A mistake? I agree. The trap was elegant. Yet, what happened to that planted card? Hey, that's right. He's lucky, I'll give him that. You'd have to be to slip free from a trap laid by Olga Quickfingers Orley. Oh, really? The witness would be much cuter if she dispensed with the evil mastermind shtick. Cute? Who wants to be cute? I'm not cute. I'm bad. You hear me? Bad. When you're through being bad, perhaps you could testify to the court? Tell us about this trap and how it was sprung. That night, I planted the card like I was supposed to. Okay. And Wright lost the hand, just like he was supposed to. And Smith searched him. Wait, Smith searched him afterwards? But the planted card was gone. The trap failed. The next moment, Wright picked up a bottle and swung it. It wasn't me who hit Smith. It was that no-good cheating defendant. A surprisingly frank testimony that still leaves us mostly in the dark. The trap was perfect, I tell you. Perfect. That rotten cheater hadn't messed it up. Look who's talking. Well, the testimony, for what it's worth, is all yours, Mr. Justice. With witnesses like her, who needs criminals? And with defendants like Mr. Wright, who needs prosecutors? Okay.
Hold it!
This planted card. Which card was it exactly? The trump card. The 5 of hearts. Whoa, 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 whoa. Why is it the 5 of hearts? Let me guess. Mr. Wright was to have switched the 5 with the ace to make a full house. Wait, what? At least that's what you were going to accuse him of doing. Oh, okay, I get it. Thereby ruining his legend. I slid it into Wright's pocket. Okay, but this card is one of the kings that had the blue back. Which means it's not the blue card that's swapped, it's all the red cards that are swapped. And was this? Why, before the match, of course. While he was eating. At the Borscht Bowl Club, we served borscht and suckers. Remind me never to go there. Of course, the card was to make its grand debut during the game. Like a good borscht, a good plot must be cooked up early and allowed to thicken. And Wright lost the hand, just like he was supposed to. Then Smith searched him. Why would he search him if he lost the hand? So, everything went according to plan. Exactly. The 5th ace came up. So it's obvious the switch went off without a hitch. Where's the 5th ace? Unless the 5th ace came up on the victim's hand and they swapped it with a king afterwards. That's the only way that it would happen. Once the extra card was found in his pocket, Wright would be forever known as a cheat and a fraud. There are worse things to be known as, I suppose. That's what happened with the search. The planted card was gone. The trap failed. Next moment, Wright picked up a bottle and swung it.
Hold it!
Wait, isn't that a little odd? What's odd? You searched Mr. Wright thoroughly and found nothing, which means he didn't cheat, which means he had no reason to strike the victim. Well, uh-oh. Uh-oh, superpowers? Was that just now? I sense something. Something wrong, Mr. Justice. No, nothing, Your Honor. What to do? Should I press her a little harder? Yes. Miss Orley, you're hiding something. What are you talking about? You? Me? Quick Fingers Orley? The defense will refrain from baseless accusations. I have one question for the witness, then. You say you saw the moment the defendant hit the victim. Is this true? Of course it's true. I did see it, honest. I saw it when Wright hit him with my own eyes. I saw it. It's this weird vibe I'm getting. That witness, for instance, Miss Orley, she would touch the back of her neck during certain parts of her testimony. Did you notice? Touching her neck, was it? Oh shit. Oh jeez. What are we using? The Sharingan? What's going on here? Are we secretly from the Uchiha village? Whoa, what's going on? This sensation. It's coming into focus. We're secretly Sasuke. There, that twitch. It's so clear. It's like I could perceive her habit like I couldn't before.
Gotcha!
Okay. Miss Orley, perhaps you are unaware of this yourself. Don't tell her your secret. Whenever you get... Oh my god. Whenever you get to a certain part of your testimony, you touch the back of your neck with your left hand. Oh, my neck. So what? What indeed, Justice? I hadn't noticed anything of the sort. When she says that part of the testimony, she subconsciously is recalling something. Her body reacts to the memory, and she touches her neck. I'm sure of it. Memory? Would someone care to explain what he's babbling about? This is highly unusual, but let's ask the defense. You claim the witness is remembering something. Maybe you have evidence of this memory to show us? Her habit is scratching her neck whenever she talks about the moment of the crime. So what would remind her the most of the moment of the crime? Miss Orley, whenever you recall the crime that night, you scratch your neck. I've noticed it happens when you think about the moment of the crime. There must be some reason behind this habit of yours. I believe that the weapon that left an erasable impression on your neck is... the weapon? Would it really be the bottle? Or the cards? I kind of want to think it's the cards. Sorry to disappoint, but I don't have any particular memories of that. Damn. Must not have been it. Of course not. Alright, let's try it again. You want a habit, Mr. Justice? I'll show you a habit. Better get this sorted out before I develop a habit of my own. Okay. Okay, I guess we'll do the bottle.
Take that!
Whenever she talks about the moment of the crime, she touches her neck. What reminds us more of that moment than this bottle, the murder weapon? But something doesn't fit. If you were the only witness to the crime, why would that make you touch your neck like you're in pain? What's he talking about now? It was Mr. Smith, the victim, who was hit, not you. Wait, what? Oh, yeah. Unless she got hit with the bottle. Because she took out what's-his-face. This is a cross-examination, not a cross-wild conjecture. The witness's habits, they're completely irrelevant. Justice. I'll admit I'm a bit confused myself. This is certainly a unique cross-examination. I'll explain later. Just trust me. Now's our only chance to break her. Miss Orley, please testify in detail about the moment of the crime. The very moment. Yet, I am knowing nothing. She went back to her other personality. We know you're not Russian. The witness will testify, please. Now. Bah, fine. He's the one who did it. I didn't let him out of my sight until the cops got there. Uh-oh. You already messed that up. Different personality, but the same testimony. I believe you have her where you want her, Justice. The circumstances have changed, yet her testimony has not. That means there's got to be a contradiction in there. Quite. Okay.
Objection!
There we go. Miss Orley, we have a record here that clearly contradicts what you said. It states that the police were alerted by a report from the defendant. And we know that the defendant left the room, climbed the stairs, and made that phone call from the first floor of the Borscht Bowl Club. So, explain how you kept your eyes on the defendant when he left the room entirely. Eek. I mean, she's gonna say she looked out the window, right? The man who picked up... Oh, she's saying it now. Who picked up the bottle and swung it that night wasn't the defendant. It was the victim. And she took it back and swung it back at him. Maybe? I don't know. Uh-oh. We're getting the story. Showdown time. You dirty cheat! Check his pockets now. It's gone. The card's gone. You lose. What? Just then, Smith grabbed the bottle from next to right, and he hit me. You, some master of cheating you turned out to be. Geek! When I came to, the victim was already dead. Is that it? Oh, the victim was already dead. Is that it? That's why I couldn't reveal who I really was. It came out that I was in league with Smith, I'd be a suspect for sure. Well, now you really are a suspect. Well, where does this leave us? Madness. This is madness. I'm dreaming. Oh, we don't have a This Is Sparta for the channel. Oh, well. It must have been me who was hit with a bottle, and I'm imagining all of this. It appears our prosecution is at its wit's end. And frankly, I can't blame him. Mr. Gavin, what do you think about this turn of events? Mr. Gavin, sir? I believe that as defense in this case, we are compelled to call Miss Orley a big fat liar. What? 3 were in that room the night of the murder. The defendant, victim, and her. And she has motive. A motive? Her plot foiled. The witness got into an argument with her client, Mr. Smith. And the denouncement of that argument was murder. The denouement. Okay. What? I didn't. I'm no killer. It's a trap. Someone's trying to frame me. Damn it, Phoenix. He just wants to be creepy and from the shadows. What tangled webs we weave when we practice to deceive. Okay, Riddler. So tangled we catch ourselves in the process. Mr. Wright? Such a hasty conclusion. It's not like you, Christoph Gavin. What are you saying? Why not consider the other possibility? That there was another... Oh, I love this man. Psych! There was yet another person in the room! Right, like Mr. Wright was saying before recess. A single card was swapped into the victim's hand after the murder. And the one who swapped the cards didn't know 2 colors of cards were being used. A 4th person. Ha! This theory again. Your 4th person doesn't exist. Indeed. That's why I decided to bring this case to court. Here, where there's no escape and no chance for deception. The perfect place to catch the real criminal. The real criminal? And we're in luck. A clue to the real criminal's identity was kindly provided for us. And right at the beginning of the trial, no less. What? Apollo, perhaps you know what I'm talking about. Sorry? Remember what I said. The 4th person who swapped the cards made one critical error. He or she wasn't considering the colors on the backs of the cards or the number. Right. But how could such an obvious mistake occur? He said the number. There's no number that I can see. The cards used for the last game were red. Yet, there's one person here in our court who thought those cards were blue. Yeah, I had that impression too, but why? Well, Apollo, think you can... Was it really Gavin? Because Gavin said he had dinner with... Oh, no way. It's not me, I swear. Who's this 4th person? Why do I always get put on the spot like this? Let's hear what the defense has to say. Who was it? Who thought the cards used in the final game were blue? Well, it was definitely Christoph.
Take that!
As I expected. Your eyes and ears are as sharp as your hair. I was right? Christoph Gavin, you were the 4th person that night. But, of course Miss Gavin knows the color of the cards. How would he? As you can see, the photo of the crime scene is black and white. You can't tell which cards are blue. The ones on the floor or the table. But look! You can see the colors in this photo. Yes, but when he said the cards were blue, it was well before this evidence came to light. true that the defendant was engaged in a game of poker with the victim, but it was only that, a game, in the present purest sense, a competition, Your Honor. Competition? Yes, that is a test of wits, a silent class of passion. Only cards, their backs, wreathed in blue flame, know its final outcome. Yeah, exactly. Well, Kristoff? Mr. Gavin? Mr. Gavin? Something the matter? Hmm? No, nothing. Excuse me, I was just so sudden. Right. You aren't seriously accusing me, are you? Oh, Kristoff? You know, even I'd never take a joke this far. This has gone beyond ridiculous, beyond dumb. This is insanity. The defendant is accusing his own defense attorney of murder? I assure you, I'm quite sane. But what possible connection could Mr. Gavin have to the victim? I wasn't aware that I had a connection to Mr. Smith either. Yes, but Mr. Gavin and the victim have never even met. Well, what if they have? Huh? There is a possibility, after all, that they may have met that night before the game started. What are you suggesting? This is the truth Mr. Wright was staying silent about? Well, only one thing to do. Mr. Wright, the defense would like to request... The defense would like to request no such thing. Mr. Gavin? Testimonies must relate to the case. How could anything happening before the game of poker be related? Motive? Planning of the murder? I'm not sure I follow, Mr. Gavin. As I explained before, the defense believes that Miss O'Reilly... Am I to assume you speak for Mr. Justice in this? He is the defense, not you. Oh man, Phoenix set it all up. Mr. Justice, the matter of Mr. Wright's testimony is up to you. Oh, okay. Does the court, in your opinion, need to hear Mr. Wright's testimony? Yes. This is Mr. Wright's strategy. He was planning this all along. And I intend to see it through. The defense would like to request that Mr. Wright testify to the court. It too, Justice. You would betray me, your teacher? I'm sorry, Mr. Gavin. This isn't about loyalty. Oh, come on, Apollo. You missed a perfect time. He should have said this is about justice, not about the truth. You don't remember any of this? Very well. The defendant, Mr. Wright, will take the stand, please.
By God Almighty, there will be an avalanche of justice.
Hell yeah. Appetite before murder. That evening, Kristoff and I had dinner. We sat at the table in this photograph. Wait, where's Kristoff in the photo? Shady Smith walked in 5 minutes after Kristoff left. Okay. When the trap failed, Smith hit the waitress. The girl was knocked out cold, and Smith was uncontrollable. I left to call the police. When I returned, he was dead, blood streaming from a cut on his forehead. That's when I made another phone call to defense attorney Gavin. Mr. Gavin, you were at the Borscht Bowl Club the night of the murder. I dine with him rather frequently. And he talked to the defendant on the phone directly after the murder. Quite against my will. I had become involved in a murder. I thought I might be in need of a lawyer, so I called him. You were planning this all along, weren't you, Wright? Just because you wanted to drag me into your little murder trial. The only thing I want is the truth. As I did back then, and now. I thought my office was doing you a favor when we took on your defense. It appears that I was wrong. Very well. The defense may cross-examine the witness. Justice. Sir, he's lying, and you're going to expose him. Understood, sir. Mr. Gavin versus Mr. Wright. This can't end well. Why can't I have a normal trial? I feel you there, brother. That evening, Christoph and I had dinner. We sat at the table in this photograph. Okay. We had dinner with Mr. Gavin. Yes, he dines with me at the Borstal Club quite frequently. We were enjoying a usual dinner at our usual spot. As usual. I always eat at the table closest to the piano. I see. Where Mr. Smith was sitting. So, the plates and such on the dinner table were from your dinner? Indeed. The remnants of my meal with Christoph. We dined for 2 hours, then Christoph left. After that... Okay. Shady Smith walked in 5 minutes after Christoph left. Okay. When the trap failed, Smith hit the waitress.
Hold it!
About this failed trap. This is the same trap that Miss Olga Orally mentioned. The plan was simple, elegant really. You see, we set up a trap of sorts. Just to plant a card in Wright's pocket beforehand, and then deal 5 aces during one of their games. When the hands were revealed, Smith would call him out and search Wright. He would then pull the planted card and the trap would be snapped shut. You swapped the cards. Just like that, the legend would be dashed to pieces. Yes, a harmless prank in essence. It was by a quirk of fate that I happened to discover it. A quirk? I happened to put my hand in my pocket and found a card. The card she planted. Yes, I snuck a peek at it and found it was the 5 of hearts. I had a feeling something might happen, so I disposed of the card before the game. Disposed? Where? There was an empty bottle of grape juice I had been drinking right beside me. I threw the card inside the bottle. An empty bottle of grape juice? A murder weapon? Did you guys not check the bottle for any evidence of the actual murder? Yes, I rolled it up and shoved it in. The colored glass makes it hard to see. A battle of wits between the deceiver and the would-be deceived. Now, this sucker is totally empty. And we already checked it. We knew that it was empty. That sounds like a terrific drama. A card inside the murder weapon? That's strange. Did the police miss it in their investigation? Maybe I'll take a look. We already did. Mr. Wright, the poker head of courtroom number 3 approves of this battle of wits. Please revise your testimony with this new information. I discovered the trap during the game and disposed of the card in the bottle.
Objection!
Mr. Wright, if I may. Yes? I examined the bottle and I don't see any card in there. No. What? Mr. Wright? Surely... ... isn't all you have to say for yourself? I can't say that I know what happened to the card. I did put it in that bottle. However... Perhaps a 5th person came in and took it out? Oh, and a 6th person could have helped. Mr. Gavin, Mr. Wright is your client. My apologies, Your Honor. I won't have you disparaging our investigation either. We looked inside that bottle and there was nothing. So what's going on? Is Mr. Wright hoodwinking us again? No, he's not. Because if we look in this picture, there's a bunch of bottles. Did the card just disappear? In any case, please continue the cross-examination. I'm afraid decisive contradictions call for decisive evidence. Oh. Push him harder, Justice. Break him. It's just you and the witness in the ring. Go for the KO. Ugh. Why do I get the feeling we're not on our client's side anymore? Okay. Discovered the trap during that game and disposed of the card in the bottle. The girl was knocked out cold, and Smith was uncontrollable. I left to call the police.
Hold it!
You made the call to the police from the first floor of the restaurant, correct? Exactly. Cell phones don't get a signal down in the hideout. Was anyone else on the first floor at the time? Not a soul. It was the middle of the night, after all. So there, in the darkened restaurant, I called the cops. After making the call, I returned to the hideout. Time of death was around 2 a.m. Between 1:45 and 2:15. Which means he had dinner at, what, midnight? 11 o'clock? Didn't seem right to leave the injured waitress alone. Except you did leave her alone. When I returned, he was dead, blood streaming from a cut on his forehead. That's when I made another phone call to defense attorney Gavin.
Hold it!
Could you explain why you called Mr. Gavin? I'd obviously gotten involved in a rather sticky affair, and I figured Krista's law offices would give me a friend rate for my defense fees. Ah, glad to hear you intend to pay. Oh, I'll pay in full, Krista. It was I who got you involved, after all. You may find the price of your defense quite high, my good friend. Quite high. It's the truth? Justice, you know what you have to do. Okay. Truth has to be in there somewhere. Okay, he walked in 5 minutes after he left. There's not like a clock in here, is there? Okay.
Hold it!
No, I didn't want to do that. Damn it.
Objection!
Your Honor, what do you think about the witness's statement? Damn it. I'm not sure I follow you. It's clear, Couchsticks, I thought... You don't sound very sure. Objection over... Ooh. I don't think that one meaning points at the judge. Yeah, but you were down there. You went back down.
Hold it!
When you returned, the victim was already dead, yes. I'll admit, I was a little startled when I walked in. A little? He was bleeding from his forehead after all. Guess I'd be startled too. Oh, wait, he still had his hat on.
Objection!
Mr. Wright, if I may. Yes? Take a look at this photograph of the crime scene. See the victim here? He's wearing a hat. I wouldn't think you could see blood on his forehead. Good point. Justice. Next time you point out an inconsistency, put a little more oomph into it. Mr. Wright, can you explain to this court? Ah, I forgot to mention something. I was the one who put the hat on his head. Eh? You? You put the hat on the dead man's head. You wore it through our entire poker game. After calling the police when I returned to the scene, his head was in full view. Shining bright, just like in the photograph. And I picked his hat up off the floor and put it on his head. Why would you do a thing like that? All I can say is, I'm sorry. That's the only thing I touched at the crime scene. So, Miss Orley didn't see it? It being the victim's, head? I think not. She was out cold. I believe I was the only one who witnessed his head. Ah, here we go again. Mr. Gavin? Pardon. It just seems that our client is determined to lie his way through this case. Hey, he's still our client, isn't he? I believe that's enough of that. Mr. Gavin? This witness's testimony is more like a travesty. It's riddled with lies. I'm beginning to see how you came to lose your attorney's badge 7 years ago. Well, you certainly have a unique way of treating your clients, Kristoff. I never knew. I believe it was you who threw the first stone. Mr. Wright, if you intend to ever tell the truth about this case, it's now or never. Don't be misled. I haven't told a single lie here. Huh? When I noticed the trap, I put the card in the bottle to dispose of it. Hey, what's going on, Timely Jess? Here we are, Hobo Wright, right? And when I put the hat on the victim's head, let's just say I had a reason for doing that as well. A reason? That reason is right here. Your cell phone? That night. Recall that I spoke with Defense Attorney Gavin after calling the police. Just in case, I recorded our conversation. What's this? You so happy all of the main games are available now? Hell yeah. This is the first time playing this for me, so I'm really interested. I played all the other Phoenix Wrights, but it was a long time ago. Ace Attorney 5 is your favorite one? Nice, nice. What's this? Now that we're all here, I see no reason why I shouldn't play it back for the court. Oh. Kristoff, I seem to be in a bit of trouble. What's this? Game not going well? Something like that. That gentleman who challenged you. He turned out to be good. Turned out to be dead. Someone hit him. Hard. You mean someone cracked that flawless bone china plate? It wasn't you, was it? Wait. Why would he mention a china plate? Me? Please. The cops should be here any minute. I'm in your hands. Should have come to that. Bone china plate? A kind of porcelain, very smooth and shiny, and not a plate, but pate. What? I believe he was referring to a certain gentleman's balding forehead. Ah, interesting. The court appreciates the defendant's discretion in not indicating my forehead. Wait a sec. Something's not right about that phone call. Well, yeah, how would he know that Mr. Smith had a bald head if he was wearing the hat when he originally came in? So, after Mr. Gavin ate dinner with you, he left the Borscht Bowl Club? Oh, certainly. Then how did he know? When did he see this bone china plate? Oh, that's right. Yes. That was when I began to see my good friend in a different light. Troubled, I returned to the crime scene. And when I spotted Mr. Smith's head again, I realized exactly what was wrong. Well, Mr. Gavin, the stage has been set. Perhaps you would like to explain this to the court? Exactly how did you come by your privileged knowledge of the victim's head? So, this is your reason. The reason why you put the victim's hat back on. Your point, Mr. Gavin? It's come down to this, has it, Phoenix Wright? Order! I will have order! Mr. Payne. Yes, Your Honor. I believe this court has been left with no other choice. Are you prepared to hear defense attorney Gavin's testimony? Well, as the prosecutor, Very well. We'll break for 10 minutes. After which Mr. Gavin will take the stand for cross-examination. Are we all clear on that? Crystal clear, Your Honor. Very well. This will be the final recess for the day. Holy crap, this trial is going on forever. This is the longest tutorial trial I've ever seen. Mr. Gavin and Mr. Wright are both in the judge's chamber. Who'd have thought today would turn out like this? May I? Oh, shit. Everybody watch out. There's a wizard. Huh? What? Hello, sir. Please, pick a card. Oh my god, she's actually going to do a magic trick for us? What's this all about? Huh? Is this one okay? Excellent. I have a message for you. The last hand is about to be played. You'll need a trump card to make it. A trump card? The card you have chosen is magical. Ooh. Use it wisely. The game is yours. Add it to the evidence. That's all. Oh, shit. It's okay, so it's the red-backed ace with a blood stain. An ace. Where do I remember that card from? Mr. Smith's hand had 3 aces, and Mr. Wright's 2. It is 5 aces in all. So Gavin swapped the ace with a king. But why does his daughter have the card is the question that I have. It's true. I've seen it. The 5th ace. There was cheating. I swear to you. The missing 5th ace. Wait. This blotch of red. Is this blood? You have your trump card. Now it's up to you to cut the deck and draw the truth. My father's fate is in your hands. I know you can do it. How are you in existence? Who is the mother? This bloodstained card is my trump card for finding the truth? I fell deep into thought as my mind raced to understand what this all meant. That girl, I'd seen her recently, but where? That's when I made the connection. The gasp. Okay. April 20th, District Court. Hold on. I want to look at the card. A single drop of blood marks the front of the card. Red back. Okay. Court will now reconvene. Defense Attorney Christoph Gavin, you will please take the stand. Now then, if you would, Mr. Payne. Yes, Your Honor. Will the witness state his name and occupation? Is this farce necessary, Your Honor? Believe me, far stranger things have gone on in this courtroom. Fine, I'll play along. First, there's one thing we need to have made clear. How did you know about the secret beneath the victim's hat? By secret, I'm guessing he means the fact that Mr. Smith was bald. Forgive my curiosity, but what is it about this fellow's head? Your Honor seems to have an inordinate interest in it.
Objection!
Why are you over here? I wouldn't call it inornate, Mr. Gavin. Mr. Wright! What do you think you're doing, Wright? Wow, things sure look different from the other side. You know what I mean, Apollo? Speaking of looking from the other side, let's consider something for a second. The victim wore that hat all night, never taking it off except that one time. That one time being the instant he was hit. Oh. When Mr. Wright returned from reporting the crime, the hat was lying on the floor. Mr. Wright picked it up and placed it on the victim's head. In other words, in order to have seen Mr. Smith's bald head, he would have had to have been there in the hideout at the time of the crime. In other words, I must be the real killer. Is that what you're trying to say? Yeah, but was there another entrance? How did he get in? Not bad, Apollo. Mr. Gavin, I'm afraid that I haven't been entirely honest with the court. Why is everybody just lying? What? Oh, I assure you, I had the noblest of intentions. I did it all to protect my client, Mr. Wright. Yet, I'm afraid, in the current situation, I see little reason to hide anything. Very well. Allow me to tell you the truth of what happened that night. Finally! You may begin your testimony. Tell us, how were you involved in the events of that fateful night? All right, testimony time, everybody. The rage I sensed in that man that night troubled me, so I returned to the club. I went down to the basement and peeked in through the little window to the hideout. It must have been right after the murder took place. The victim was dead, as he appears in the photo. A bald head, an unconscious girl, and Wright holding a bottle in his hand. I sensed that was not the best place for me to be at the time, so I left. That's when the call came from Wright. So, you witnessed the murder? For better or worse, I missed the actual moment of the deed. Mr. Gavin, may I remind you that you are on Mr. Wright's defense team. Your testimony is clearly disadvantageous to your client. What else could I say? I'm standing on the witness stand, after all. So you are, Mr. Gavin. And you had to testify. And you had to testify as you just did. You had to tell them you saw the scene of the crime through that little window. Mr. Wright. You had to say that. Because that was the only probable window of opportunity. Right, Apollo? Oh. Mr. Wright, the defense should do the cross-examination, not the defendant. Mr. Justice, are you prepared? Yes, Your Honor. Can't believe I'm going up against Mr. Gavin. This trial is getting weirder and weirder. That fateful night. Okay.
Hold it!
That man. You mean Mr. Smith? He was different from the other customers. His aura, shall we say. I knew he was a serious poker player, but it was more than that. But then you knew the true nature of your client's job. Of course. But I also knew he wasn't engaged in gambling, which would be illegal. Now that makes sense that he'd know. They were friends after all. Worried for my friend, I returned to the club. You see, I feared this Mr. Smith might be someone coming to settle an old score. Okay. I went down to the basement and peeked through the little window to the hideout.
Hold it!
Little window. You mean the one used to keep watch up the stairs? Yes, a relic of an ancient past. The Black Marketeers used it, I believe. Why did you go through the trouble of peeking in through the window? Wouldn't it have been easier just to open the door and go into the room? I didn't want to upset Wright, you see. Upset Mr. Wright? Yes. What if my fears had been unfounded? I'd be walking in on their match. Bad form, to say the least. So far, everything he's saying makes sense. Yeah, except how did he get past Wright? It must have been right after the murder took place.
Hold it!
How do you know it was right after the murder? Really? No need to shout, Justice. I was just getting to that part of my testimony. Ah, there he is. The coolest defense in the West. We know and love. Even when you're standing up there on the witness stand, some things never change. I was afraid you'd change too, right? But you haven't. You and that overbearing personality of yours. Friends like these, who needs enemies? The victim was dead as he appears in the photo.
Hold it!
By photo, you mean the second photograph of the crime scene? Precisely. You see, he wasn't wearing his hat then. Okay, good. I saw his head when he was dead. And then Mr. Wright came along and replaced his hat. Can you describe the scene of the crime for us? A bald head, an unconscious girl, and Wright holding a bottle in his hand. Okay. Objection! Hey, thanks for the resub.
Objection.
How you doing, Dimitri? I sensed that it was not the best place for me to be, so I left. That's when the call came from Wright. Estimated time of death.
Objection!
Damn it.
Hold it!
Okay, we'll press on this instead. Those are the only three at the scene of the crime. Yes, as far as I saw, at least. Then we're back to where we started. The killer was the defendant, Phoenix Wright. Who else could it have been? But why didn't you talk to the police? 2 reasons. First, I didn't actually witness the very moment of the crime. Second, my office was asked to defend Mr. Wright. Even after seeing what I had seen, I couldn't abandon my friend.
Objection!
There must have been someone else there at the moment of the crime. Prepping to relax in bed, settled in a nightcap, and watch you some Sloth and Phoenix Wright. Hell yeah. Justice, I just said I saw no one, not a soul. But it goes against what Mr. Wright said. Ah, yes, this mysterious 4th person, who would conveniently be the real killer, I suppose. Glad to see we agree, Mr. Gavin. Let me pose a question, then. Tell me, what possible reason did the real killer have to swap cards in the victim's hands? Perhaps you can show us a reason why such a thing would be necessary. There it is. How can I show something I can't find myself? Remember, Apollo, the card that was swapped out was the 5th ace. The 5th ace, right. Well, Mr. Justice, the question of why the killer would swap out a card has been raised. Can you point to a reason? Yes. It's now or never. The defense would like to present evidence to the court. Evidence showing the reason why a card was swapped out. Then go ahead and point out your reason, Mr. Justice. Why did the killer take the 5th ace?
Take that!
My reason is, this. Is that an ace? Why, it's got blood on it. Right next to the spade. What? This is insane. Why wasn't I told about this? Why? Could this be? Could this be the missing 5th ace? Inconceivable. How could you? What are you doing with that card? Well, that's the thing. Why is Mr. Gavin so upset? It's just a fishy card from some fishy girl. Oh, that card? It's mine. That is, I picked it up at the Borscht Bowl Club that night after the murder had occurred. I gave it to my daughter. Cards are her stock in trade, after all. No, impossible, unacceptable. The court can't accept this evidence. It's a fraud. A fraud? How can you be so sure? What? I would think the only person who could claim it was a fraud would be the one who took the real card from the crime scene. The real killer. Ugh. Allow me to elaborate. What if this trace of blood was the reason? The reason for the killer to take the card from the scene of the crime. Where are you going with this? Take another look at the photo and at the victim's head. At the moment of the crime, his hat fell to the floor. A trickle of blood ran from his forehead down the back of his head. Couldn't a drop of that blood have fallen onto one of the cards? Hey, what's up, Dishes again? How you doing? You forgot? What'd you forget? I suppose. Buy cleaning wipes today? Oh shit. The killer then took the card to hide the blood.
Objection!
Regardless, that evidence is non-permissible. Oh? Right. Regardless of how you wasted the last 7 years, you used to be a lawyer. You know what a serious crime it is to conceal evidence. Oh, we can discuss the finer points of our legal system later. What's important now is that I've answered your question. What are you talking about? You wanted to know why the killer would have taken a card from the crime scene. And now I've told you. Do I know a real person alive named Phoenix? Nope. Do you? That one drop of blood would have been decisive evidence, you see.
Objection!
This is baseless conjecture. Baseless.
Objection!
Uh-oh. Oh, shit! He busted out the finger. Oh, I assure you, it's quite based. What? It's amazing, really, how a single drop of blood on a single card can lead us to the truth. It's quite simple. Well, Apollo? Yes? Try picturing the scene of the crime. Oh shit, we're going 3D mode. The murder took place in the hideout. He did the pose, exactly. The body of the luckless victim was found at the poker table. And before the killer swapped the card out, there was a single card with a drop of blood on it in the victim's hand. Given this, there's one decisive problem with this scene. Well, what is it? Let's keep it simple, shall we? Given that there was a drop of blood on the card, whose position in this diagram doesn't fit? The victim's. The victims, the killers, the witness, the second witness. Whose position doesn't fit?
Take that!
Well, isn't the victim's position that's the problem? I don't follow your logic here, Mr. Justice. Well, look. The victim was struck on the head, sending him back in his chair. You'd think any blood would fall behind the body, not onto the table in front of him. Oh! Take a look at the photo again. If he bled in this position, the blood would fall on the floor, not onto the cards. Why, that's right. So what does this mean? Incidentally, we were sitting in swivel chairs. Swivel chairs? Oh, man. Apollo, try turning the chair around. Recreate the crime scene. Chair was facing the other way? It would have to be. So, we have to assume that at the time of the murder, the victim's chair was facing away from the table. When Mr. Wright returned from informing the police, which way was the chair facing? When I came back to the room, the body was facing as seen in the photo. That would mean the killer turned the chair back around. Let's take the next step. Look at the diagram once more. We know that the victim was facing away from the table at the time of the murder. But this creates another significant contradiction. Again? Let's test your reasoning skills again, shall we? Apollo, whose location on this diagram contradicts our new understanding of the crime? The victims, the killers, the witness, the second witness. If he was facing away, killer. The victim was struck from the front, correct? Indeed. Well, wouldn't it be hard for the killer to hit him from the front? Which means Gavin was hiding in the closet? Sitting where his indicator currently is. I would think it'd be quite hard, yes. Yes, but what you're saying makes no sense. Why would the victim suddenly turn to face the wall in the middle of a game? I believe a sufficient reason will soon come to light. What? There's something in this diagram that makes far less sense, actually. Look again at the diagram. Apollo, if the victim was struck while he was sitting as shown here, where would his assailant be standing? What? But There's no room to put a mark where the killer should be. Don't worry. Let's sink it through and see what we find. Oh, because this is supposed to be like a speakeasy? Maybe that closet is a hidden back door. We know the victim was facing towards the wall at the time of the crime. That's the only thing we know for sure. Try to forget about everything else. Where would the killer have been standing to strike our victim from the front?
Take that!
Killer had to be standing, well, here. You get points for flair, but that's about all you get. Oh, I thought I was onto something there, too. I hardly need to point out that standing there would be impossible. The victim is facing a solid cupboard. Or are you claiming the killer climbed the cupboard and hit him from above? Ha! Simple logic, really. If this was the only place the killer could have been standing, then that means that at the very moment of the crime... Wait, I know! The moment of the crime, the cupboard wasn't there. What's this now? I mean, that's the only explanation. Right, Mr. Gavin? Your Honor, I have a suggestion for the defense. We should arrange to examine the cupboard in the hideout immediately. Did the point again. Bailiff, send a team to the crime scene immediately. Have them try to move the cupboard. Your Honor? What? There's one more thing your men should look for. Please give this to the bailiff. Yes, I see. You do belong in the courtroom after all, Mr. Wright. I do my best. But let's forge ahead here while we wait. Look at the diagram once again. It's been changed. If the killer was standing here at the time of the crime, then this cupboard wasn't here, which means... Apollo, try moving the cupboard. Thank you. Which would cover the window. As you can see, the cupboard was the problem. At the time of the murder, it has to have been as shown here. Now everything is in place to reconstruct the moment of the crime. Oh my. What's this? Oh, what is it now? Look at the diagram of the crime scene once more. It appears we found yet another contradiction. What I believe to be the final contradiction, in fact. Huh? Oh, dang! Notice something, Apollo? Our line of deduction is rapidly approaching its logical conclusion. Now then, Mr. Justice, please point out the new contradicting indicator. Is it the victim, the killer, the witness, or the second witness? Which indicator in this diagram contradicts what we know about this? It's right here.
Take that!
About this cupboard. Are we all okay with assuming it was moved? Sure, why not? Well, if it was, something really doesn't fit. The cupboard would completely cover up the window to the stairs. Ugh! That's right. Someone standing outside wouldn't be able to see in. Someone like Mr. Gavin. What did you say? Oh? Is the coolest defense in the West losing his cool? Don't expect me to play along with your little game, right? It's only a game until someone gets killed, Mr. Gavin. And someone was, while the window to that room was blocked by a cupboard. So, Mr. Gavin, perhaps you'd like to explain to the court. Exactly. Where did you witness the crime scene from? Excuse me, Your Honor. Damn, they are fast. Order! This is a court of law, and I will have order. We just now received word from our investigative team at the Borscht Bull Club. They examined the cupboard in the hideout, Your Honor. Oh? What did they find? Well, Your Honor, turns out there's a secret passage behind it. I knew it. I fucking knew it. What? Ah, yes. I believe I mentioned something of the sort before. This is one of the tricks to the room many of our regulars know about. I do remember him saying something about that now that he mentions it. The secret passage is a handy thing when you're engaged in illegal goings-on. Never know when you might need to duck away from the eyes of the law. So the room has a secret passage. Where does it go? The other side connects to the restaurant above. The underworld bosses could get away from the cops and enjoy a cold bowl of borscht, no doubt. Just like our killer. Oh, shit. You see where our line of simple deductive reasoning has led us, Apollo? I see it, but I don't believe it. That girl wasn't kidding when she said I needed this trump card for the last hand. At the time of the murder, the window was blocked and the victim's hat was only off of his head for a few minutes between Mr. Smith's murder and Mr. Wright's return from calling the cops. In other words, the only place anyone could have seen the victim's bald head was from inside the hideout. Well, Mr. Gavin, come on, say something. Dare I ask what really happened that night? Actually, I think we probably figured it out ourselves at this point. That night, for whatever reason, our killer had a date with Mr. Smith. A date with destiny. There he crouched, hidden in the secret passageway behind the cupboard, holding his breath, waiting for just the right moment. And the chance came, and he took it. What? Why'd you do that? Wait here. I'll get help. Miss Olga Orley was out cold, struck by Mr. Smith. But his time was soon to come. Mr. Wright went upstairs to call the cops, leaving Mr. Shady Smith alone in the hideout with the unconscious dealer. Then our killer stepped out from the secret passage and into the hideout. The victim must have heard the cupboard sliding aside. He wheeled his chair around to look, and after the deed was done, the criminal must have seen the blood on the card. He would have, of course, realized the need to destroy the evidence. That single spot of blood was the whole story of the crime. Too bad for him he didn't linger any longer in the hideout that night. If he had, he might have noticed the cards on the floor, and the fact that they were all red. Well, it seems this trial has taken yet another turn. I'm truly sorry to see this day come, Mr. Gavin. Mr. Gavin? Mr. Payne.
Yes?
Yes, Your Honor. The prosecution will continue its investigation. As for Mr. Phoenix Wright, the defendant, he is hereby cleared of all suspicion. God! Believe me when I say that I don't believe this is happening, Mr. Gavin. But I'm afraid circumstances call for me to issue a warrant for your arrest. Immediately.
Objection!
Oh, no need to apologize. I rather enjoyed myself. It's not every day you get to witness a legendary attorney's dirty tactics firsthand. Your point, Mr. Gavin? Frankly, Your Honor, I'm shocked that a person of your caliber would be taken in by such a low-grade publisher. Oh, excuse me? The defendant is cleared of all suspicion? This is hardly the time for jokes, Your Honor. Mr. Wright hasn't proven anyone's guilt or innocence here. What he has done is use illegal evidence to put the blame on someone else. And not just anyone else, but me, his own defense attorney. Illegal evidence?
Objection!
Let me ask you, Mr. Gavin. Is there still any reason at present to suspect me of wrongdoing? Of course. This bottle, for instance. A bottle of grape juice Mr. Wright was drinking. How do you intend to explain away the fingerprints on the murder weapon? And not just any fingerprints. Am I right, Mr. Payne? Actually, yes. The fingerprints on the bottle were, upside down. I seem to recall this being an issue earlier. The court and this case demand an explanation. I can think of only one reason why one would hold a bottle upside down. And that is to hit someone with the bottom of the bottle. Well, Your Honor? See how the caught fish squirms to the last... Well, Apollo? Yes? Your boss seems awfully concerned about this bottle still. But I'm sure you can come up with a suitable explanation. Just like that. Yeah. Just like what? Why would anyone grab a bottle upside down other than to... Don't let him trick you into thinking his explanation is the only legitimate. Is there really another? Take another look at the court record. I believe you'll find a simple answer there, in plain sight. Maybe you just say the answer in plain words. It would be hasty to deliver a verdict with unanswered questions, indeed. Well, Mr. Justice, Mr. Gavin said that the court and this case demand an explanation. Don't worry, justice won't leave until justice is done. Perhaps the defense would care to enlighten the court. What evidence do you have to explain why the fingerprints on the bottle... this one.
Take that!
It's actually easier to show than explain, Your Honor. Place that bottle on the floor next to your chair. Excuse me? On the floor? Yes. Now reach down and pick it up. Without getting out of your chair. Ugh! See, you naturally go to pick up the bottle by its neck. With your fingers upside down. Look at this photograph taken on the night of the murder. The defendant, Mr. Wright, sat there, playing piano, bottles of grape juice on the floor. To the side of his piano. He would have naturally picked up the bottles, upside down, several times. Wow. I can't believe it was that simple. Recall our dinner that evening, Christoph. I was drinking my usual juice then, too. Basically, you used the bottle on the table to do the deed. But then you must have remembered. So you went and picked up one of the bottles from under the piano. And you switched the bottles. You took the one of Mr. Wright's bottles and made it look like the murder weapon. That also explains why the card wasn't in there. Order! Order! What do you have to say to these charges, Mr. Gavin? Fascinating. So, this is the legendary attorney's famed tactic of misdirection. What? You claim that I switched the bottle. Where is your proof? Proof? Well, that's, as I thought, more baseless conjecture. I'm afraid your bottle of proof is quite empty. Yeah, except it is empty.
Objection!
I wouldn't be so sure about that. Your Honor, when you initiated the investigation of the hideout earlier, you recall I requested an additional investigation? Yes. I have your memo about that here. Retrieve the bottles from under the piano at the Borscht Bowl Club. And here's one of the bottles in question. What are you going to do? dust that for fingerprints, too. I would be surprised if any were on that but his. Mr. Gavin probably wouldn't make such a novice mistake, true. That bottle won't bear a trace of anything. Say, Apollo. Yes? Why don't you go ahead and examine that bottle? Why? Just humor me. Mr. Wright. That bottle will solve this case once and for all. What? That's some bottle. The card. Oh, there's something inside the bottle. What's this? That card. It can't be. Recall that unpleasant woman's testimony for a moment. Miss Olga Orley? Yes, our little swindling, Dekocha. That night, I planted the card like I was supposed to. And Wright lost the last hand, just like he was supposed to. And Smith searched him. The planted card was gone. The trap failed. Wait. This isn't... You're telling me that this is the planted card you disposed of? One you mentioned in this piece of testimony? I happened to put my hand in my pocket and found a card. Yes, I snuck a peek at it and found out it was the Five of Hearts. I had a feeling something might have happened, so I disposed of the card before the game. Disposed? Where? There was an empty bottle of grape juice I had been drinking right beside me. I threw the card inside the bottle. The Five of Hearts. This is the card. The bottles were swapped, and the only one who could have done that was the fourth person in the club that night. You, Mr. Christoph Gavin. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh shit, the borscht! Dot, dot, dot. Dot, dot, dot. Lobster? That is all. Is this your idea of revenge, Phoenix Wright? Revenge? Revenge for the events that took away your attorney's badge 7 years ago? My past is like my logic, straight and true. Nothing's changed. All I did was point the finger of justice in the proper direction. Fine. I'm glad we could have this little ta-ta-ta, right? This is insane! What about me? Don't I get to prosecute anyone? Yeah, right? He should prosecute someone. I believe this time we finally come to an end of our trial. Mr. Payne, do you have a report for us on Christoph Gavin? He's admitted everything. We're processing his arrest now. I see. Still, one has to wonder why he would do such a thing. He didn't even have a connection to the victim, did he? None that we know of. Mr. Wright, have you anything to add? I'm afraid I can't shed any more light on the matter. About this victim, Mr. Shady Smith. His occupation was listed as traveler. An odd profession, to be sure. That's all we know about him. I'll arrange a follow-up investigation, Your Honor. Good. Mr. Wright? Yes? 7 years, and you still haven't lost your touch. Christoph Gavin was a man with much significance for me, both as a friend and a lawyer. He was extremely talented, to be sure. I needed 2 things before I could confront him. The first was a place where no injustice would be tolerated, this courtroom. The second was a man who would tolerate no injustice. In other words, a defense attorney. You, Apollo. Me? This is a dark time for our legal system. A twisting of justice brought on by our very own initial trial system. We have to set it right. Mr. Wright. Our work lies ahead of us, and I, for one, am looking forward to it. Well, this seems like a good time to announce a verdict. This court finds the defendant, Mr. Phoenix Wright, not guilty. Hell yeah. Court is adjourned. April 20th, 4:28 p.m. District Court. Defendant, lobby number 3. Thanks, Apollo. You came through, just like I thought you would. I'm pretty sure I didn't do a thing in there. It was you who cornered the killer. I couldn't have done it by myself. You sensed it too, today, didn't you? Your ability? Ability? Yes, a sensitivity I lack. You'll come to understand it soon enough. Wait, I wonder if he means... He's talking about his secret Sasuke powers. You say you saw the moment the defendant hit the victim. Is this true? Of course it's true. It's this weird vibe I'm getting. What was that, Mr. Wright? You'll have to find the answer to that question yourself. How much you want to bet they're going to give it a corny name like the Eye of Justice? The answer. Right. Today was full of questions without answers. Most of them about Mr. Gavin. 100%, right? What possible reason could he have to commit a murder? Perhaps you'll learn that in the days to come. Huh? Wait, you don't know, do you? This locket is the key. Huh? Oh, that reminds me. I met the girl whose picture's in your locket. Your daughter, right? That's right. She's my daughter. Is she adopted or is she actually his daughter? You know, we were right about this locket. Huh? I took this off his neck the night he died. But it looks like our dear Russian scam artist saw me. But the truth is, this locket really did belong to him. Wait, that's perjury! You testified. You said that locket was yours. I said no such thing, actually. Huh? I merely said that it was a locket with my daughter's picture in it. Inquiring minds need to know, right? A subtle distinction, but a distinction nonetheless. That is true, he did say it that way. And it's the truth. Wait, then why? I was the victim wearing a locket with a picture of your daughter inside of it. Well, he never said the picture of his daughter was inside it originally. Sometimes the straightest path to the truth isn't the best one. Give it time. You're still getting started with your career. Speaking of which, I may be out of a job. I work for Gavin Law Offices, after all. I still can't believe I just saw Mr. Gavin get led away in handcuffs. Apollo. Yes? How about coming to work for me? Huh? You mean at the Wright & Co. Law Offices? I mean, there's not a single attorney in my generation that doesn't know it. I can't imagine that to be true, but... Wait. Didn't you... You're not a... Oh, I turned in my badge, yes. I'm not an attorney anymore. Yeah, that doesn't mean he can't run a law office. That incident 7 years ago. That legendary trial. And at the middle of it all was one man. Phoenix Wright. The case reached its sad conclusion, and he left law for good. Have you ever thought about coming back to the courts? I'm not qualified to stand in a court of law, I'm afraid. Didn't you notice in today's trial? There was a single piece of forged evidence. Forged evidence? What are you talking about? I'm talking about the evidence that shouldn't have existed. Naughty magician's trick. Yeah, because they said that the killer took the actual card. But how did she get the card? They never mentioned how he acquired the card. One piece of evidence struck me as odd, it's true. It just seemed, well, too perfect. I'll bet that this was the evidence.
Take that!
You mean this, don't you? You got this from your daughter, Mr. Wright. Yes, that card couldn't have been found at the crime scene. Why? Because the killer took it with him when he left, leaving the wrong card in its place. Luckily for us. Court can't accept this evidence. It's a fraud. A fraud? How can you be so sure? I would think the only person who could claim it was a fraud would be the one who took the real card from the crime scene. The real killer. My verdict was already handed down 7 years ago. Then, you really... Yes, I forged this card. One look at the crime scene should have told you it wasn't real. But you can't do something like that and call yourself an attorney. Who's calling themselves an attorney, Apollo? So it's true. The rumor is true. 7 years ago. None of that matters much now, does it? Ugh. Grr. I punched him. It's your story from here on out, Apollo. Perhaps I can help you turn the next page. My office's address. Drop in if you like. Mr. Wright. Oh, about your uppercut. Try yelling, "Take that," next time. I find it packs a little more punch. And Apollo. Thanks for today. I had a good time. And with that, Mr. Wright walked out the door. And that's how my first trial ended. A lot of mysteries went unsolved. And at that time, I had no idea where they were all related. Every mystery that day, connected by a single thread of logic. I'd find out soon enough. My name is Apollo Justice, attorney at law, and this is how my story begins. Hell yeah. Okay. We are actually going to end it there. We completed the first trial. So we will end it here, but we will be back tomorrow with the next trial. So if you guys are interested, definitely come hang out. We can try and solve the mystery together. I definitely am enjoying playing another Ace Attorney game. Apollo seems really interesting. I want to know more about his singing ability as he keeps talking about it. So maybe we'll get more information in the next episode. Once again, thank you all once again. For anybody who's new, thank you for stopping by. If you like what you see, go ahead and give a follow. We play a lot of random games, usually a lot of old school games, but there will be a lot of new games that we're also playing. And Dimitri, thank you for the resub. And I hope you all have yourself a wonderful evening. Y'all have a good one. Bye now.